Happy Twin Tuesday! Dr. Madeline at Atlas Chiropractic Center, and today I'm with Shannon Parks, and I'm going to let her introduce herself in a minute so she can tell you more about what she does and what she can do for you guys, because remember on Twin Tuesdays, while Dr. Johanna is out, we are introducing you to other people in the community that we know, love, and trust, and that we trust with our patients as well, so you guys can build your healthcare team. And just a quick reminder, 1 week we have our Pathways Connect group here, so if you're interested in that, it's for parents, or if you're involved in the birth world and you want to connect with other moms or dads, then comment below and we'll get you in the Facebook group. That way you can stay up to date with the videos and the meetings, all that stuff.
Yay!
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on. My name is Shannon Parks. I'm a registered dietitian. I have a private practice called Shannon Parks Nutrition and Wellness, where I offer online virtual telehealth-based nutrition counseling and coaching, as well as virtual personal training. So, yeah, I love it. I've been in this realm for about 10 years. I've been a dietitian for a little bit over a year now. And I love it, so I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some things, clearly, about food, because I have a lot of patients who will ask me on what they should eat, and I'll ask them about their diet, and I'm like, okay, so what are we eating? Is it balanced? So Shannon's going to go into that a little bit, which I'm super excited about, but I also love that she does intuitive eating, which I don't think we're going to dive in, I think a little bit today, but I think this is huge because so many of us have struggled for so long about what's a good and a bad food, and I see that a lot with patients in here, and I see it a lot in the community, and I think it's just cool to start to really tune in and listen to your body and see what it needs, and to release that
stigma, maybe?
Yeah, stigma around food. Like, it's food.
There are a lot of stigmas around food, and so I actively work to kind of push back against those stigmas about food, about body size, about body image, weight, all of that, because it doesn't define who we are, but a lot of society and other healthcare practitioners will put a lot of pressure on someone about what they weigh and what they look like. And so intuitive eating kind of pushes that to the side a little bit and instead forces us to be reflective about how we feel about food, how we feel about the foods that we eat, how food responds in our body, and all of that. So, and that really does play into balanced eating as well. So many people that I talk to really want to get their nutrition under control, and so we start having the conversation about what they're eating, what they're doing, and they're only eating once a day. Do you come across that with your people too?
I do. I have a lot of people who want to fast and things like that, or for whatever reason they do only eat once a day. Maybe they don't really like to cook, or it's a chore for them. They think eating once a day is going to be enough, because then they're going to limit their food intake and they're going to lose weight. Does it work?
Well, it can backfire. So one of the things that I talk to people about is that food is the fuel that helps us go out into the world and do the things in our day that we want to do, especially if you are someone active and you have an active lifestyle, you go to the gym or you work out or whatever, you especially need that fuel. And even if you're not actively exercising, you still need fuel to get your daily life done. So I tell people it's like gas in your car. If you don't put gas in your car, you're not going to go very far, right? Maybe around the block, probably not. So it's super important, just like putting gas in your car, to put food in our body. And I, in my practice, work with people a lot on the element of self-care. And I'll tell you that feeding yourself is a part of self-care. You have to feed yourself despite what you ate earlier, despite what you weighed earlier, despite how much you moved earlier or didn't move. You still owe that to yourself to feed and nourish your body. So super, super important. And I guess that kind of segues into a little bit of intuitive eating. And so one of the main tools that I teach people, especially those who are eating just once a day, I ask them, are you hungry?
Yes.
Are you hungry?
Is your answer yes? My answer would be yes.
I ask them, I'm like, are you hungry during the day? If you are, that is a sign that your body says, feed me, I need some fuel. I've been putting out a lot of energy, I need some fuel. So if you are not having that sensation of hunger, that can be really common too. So I guess it'd be really good for us to run down some easy ways to kind of connect with that feeling of hunger. So,
I like it.
hunger can show up as like a grumbling in your stomach. That's really common. Or a thought of kind of getting hungry, or maybe it's a thought of I'm really freaking starving by now. It can be like a sudden onset of fatigue, even if you've gotten a decent night's rest. It can be a headache that comes on. That's me. I will get a headache if I don't eat. It can be irritability, anxiety, hangry. I mean, that term is out there because it happens, right? It happens to all of us. And so those are all subliminal cues. Some of them more subtle than others, that our body is saying, hey, feed me. So I always tell people, if you are not in tune with your hunger cues, start to listen for some of those that I just listed off.
Sure.
And one of the easiest ways is to ask yourself every couple of hours, am I hungry? And I know that sounds silly, but it's so helpful with helping us to be able to connect our own body sensations for hunger and the mental recognition that we're hungry.
Right.
And then from there, acting upon it. If you're hungry, feed yourself.
Eat.
Right?
Yeah.
Eat a snack or have a meal if it's around mealtime. And another really easy tool that I teach people about is like a 1 to 10 scale with hunger. And so like 0 is I just ate, I'm not hungry at all. 10 is I'm really freaking hungry, I'm starving. So if we wait until we're a 10, have you been a 10? Yeah. Where I didn't eat and I'm like starving.
Angry.
How much control do you have over the food that you eat? Like none, right? It's like
Just
I can't get enough in fast enough. I'm going to mow down the entire pantry.
Yeah.
Like close the fridge because I'm coming for it. Like I'm going to eat as much as I can as fast as I can. That rational part of our brain jump ship when we get to starvation, because then it's a feast or famine, and that goes back to way back with our ancestors, that feast or famine. And so the rational brain jump ship, we eat as much as we can, as fast as we can, and then we are left feeling bloated, uncomfortable, stuffed,
Right.
feeling like crap, like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Why did I eat so much? So when you get to a 4 or a 5, go ahead and have something to eat.
Yeah.
So asking yourself every couple of hours, am I hungry? How hungry am I? Judging based on that scale, feed yourself appropriately.
Great.
Sounds simple enough, right?
Simple.
But it's hard.
Well, Kaylee's eating right now because she's hungry. So
Oh, good. Yay.
Kaylee.
Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad that you're taking the advice and applying it immediately. I love to hear that. So, since Kaylee's eating, I think maybe it's a good time for us to segue and talk about the balanced components of a meal. Because once somebody starts to recognize their hunger and can act upon it, then it becomes a question of, what do I eat? Right? That's like the natural progression. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, wanting to eat something balanced, wanting to keep health forward, there are 3 components to a balanced meal. And I'm sure that you could list them off because I know you're really good at eating pretty balanced. So the first is protein.
Yes.
And do we know what foods contain protein?
What foods contain protein?
So the foods that contain protein are all of your meats, of course, chicken, fish, beef, pork, turkey. You got the main ones. Your additional meats, whatever meats, eggs, beans, nuts, nut butters, protein powders or drinks, supplements count. So protein is the first component. The second component is a fruit or a vegetable. Your choice, whichever you like. Green veggies are a great source of bulking up your meal without adding a whole bunch of calories. So I tell people, if you want more volume, pile on the broccoli, pile on the salad, pile on the spinach or the asparagus, kale, like whatever you like. Make that the bulk of your meal, because the fibrous roughage is going to make you feel fuller for longer, but the calories are really low. So if you're trying to lose weight, that's a really good way to kind of get a bigger meal without getting a bigger caloric value out of it. So that's the second component. The first is protein, second is fruit or vegetable, and then the third component is a complex carbohydrate.
Complex?
It doesn't have to be complex. I mean, the carbohydrate should, but the approach to it doesn't have to be complex. So complex carbohydrates are those that have fiber, vitamins, and minerals. So we're looking for brown rice, whole wheat pastas, whole wheat breads, quinoa, couscous, beans, potatoes, sweet or white. They're both good.
Yeah. I eat white potatoes, guys.
Yeah, I eat white potatoes too. They're delicious.
Right.
I especially love the red skin ones when you roast them and get them all crispy and delicious. They're great. No hating on white potatoes here. So those are going to be sources of complex carbohydrates. We want those because they have fiber, they've got vitamins, they've got minerals, they've got the extra nutrition. Not only is that going to help bring our vitamin and mineral levels up, which helps our metabolism, we're also going to feel fuller for longer, have a higher satiety with that meal, and it helps our bowels move too, which
is awesome.
It is awesome.
It's important.
Bowel health is important. So when you're thinking about balanced meals, just think about the 3 components. You want to be able to look down at your plate or your bowl and see, okay, I have a protein, I have a fruit or a vegetable, and I have a carbohydrate component here. So you can think about common breakfasts that you might have, or lunches or dinners, and see if there's a gap there and fill it in really easily using that 3-component rule.
It's a nice, easy rule.
Yeah, I like it.
It's great. And I love all the things she said, and on top of it, I know for me personally what helps, and I know not everybody is like me, so that's okay. I plan. So I make my list of food I'm going to buy at the grocery store, and I meal prep and do all of that, so I know like when I come to the office that I have lunch with me and it's going to have those 3 components with it, so I don't have to worry about getting to my hangry stage and then running out somewhere that's not food I want to eat and then eating too much of it or any of that.
Yeah, so talking about that is, I'll give you guys another good tip. I hope you have a lot of viewers because I'm just dropping the knowledge in
drop
here.
it in there.
So it's a concept that I call cook once, eat twice. So I'm sure you're familiar with this. Anybody who does any sort of like meal preparation or anything like that, it's easier if you can cook one time and eat twice. So if you're making veggies, how much easier is it to just put in some extra veggies onto the baking sheet and throw it in the oven? Right. Or if you're baking chicken, how much easier is it to just throw the veggies in there and then you have them later in the week? Or if you're making brown rice, maybe just doubling your portion and tucking it away in the fridge so that you have something grab and go. Yep. So just thinking about the components of your meal and not saying necessarily duplicating that meal completely, because I hate leftovers. I'm not a leftovers person. I can't do it. But I can take those components over a few meals and come up with, maybe steal the brown rice from Monday's dinner, and I can steal the roasted broccoli that I made on Tuesday, and I can, use some of the leftover salmon I had from Wednesday and create a totally different meal than what I had the 3 nights before. Just using the components I already had, and I saved time cooking it because I just cooked it when I was cooking those meals.
Game changer.
So that's how I do a lot of my lunches. But like you were saying, meal planning, I always advise people to have a plan. Yeah. Even if your plan is, I'm going to go out for lunch 5 days this week, at least you have a plan and you know what that plan is, and you're not left scrambling, anxious, hangry, and wondering where's my next meal going to come from. I have to go to the gas station now because I have no idea, and I'm just totally out of a plan. So highly recommend planning, starting with your proteins, thinking about what your components are going to be, and account for snacks too. Yeah. Always account for snacks.
Absolutely. It's okay to snack.
Oh yeah.
It's okay to eat, guys. It's okay.
It's okay to eat. Please eat. Please. It's only going to help your metabolism. If you don't eat enough for a chunk of time, your metabolism's going to slow down. It's going to be harder for you to lose weight. It's going to be harder for you to gain muscle if you're not eating. So please feed yourself.
Well, Shannon is the local, as you can see, because she is right here. But she also works with people over distance. So if this is information you're struggling with, or you want to reach out and talk to her a little bit more, I tagged her in the video. But also comment like me below or something, and we'll make sure that we get you guys in contact with each other.
Yeah, and drop your questions below, please. I'll stop by later on today and kind of look back at the questions, maybe at the end of the week again, and just kind of see what people have questions about. I'd love to help you. I know that nutrition can be very specific to all of us, so if you've got questions, drop them in there, and I will be more than happy to get to you.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, it's Twin Tuesday, guys. Thank you so much, Shannon, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's super rainy here in Florida, so we brought you the beautiful islands behind us just to bring a little sunshine to your life if you're in St. Pete like we are. And that's it. Till next Tuesday. Have a great day.
All right. Bye, guys.